Welcome to Drag Racing 97 from Queensland's Willowbank Raceway, as Hi-Tech Oils presents the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic. So what's it all about? Well, Wild Bunch Drag Racing is where we take a high horsepower supercharged engine and bolt it into a family sedan, not unlike Tom Coonan's Ford here. Or you may prefer the more classic approach. How about Kevin Campbell and Bob Scott's brilliant hot rod? How wild can you go with a Wild Bunch? Check out this one. Alf Sorbello's brilliant world's fastest BMW. There's just no limit to the Wild Bunch. Joining me today will be Paul Casos and Tanya Campbell. Paul, the Wild Bunch is always an exciting event.
Yeah, it certainly is. And here tonight, any one of 12 competitors could really take it out. We've got competitors from all over Australia here. One of the cars you see here in front of us could be the winner. Could, in fact, Kevin Campbell take it out? Could it be one of the other New South Wales competitors here? Or could it be Tommy Coonan from Toowoomba trying to take out two Wild Bunches in a row? We'll wait and see.
And Tanya, of course, the Wild Bunch isn't the only feature tonight.
Far from it, Rob. We've got Mark Brew in the BOC Gases small block dragster, and he's up against Dave Glenwright in the Bob Brackham Bromac Industries big block. They're going to be toughing it out in the best of three top alcohol challenge. We've also got all the heads-up action from Super Gas Eliminator. We'll be bringing all the finals of the support brackets, and I'm going to be down the finish line talking to the winners as they happen. So it's a big night.
So there you have it. Settle in, buckle up and get ready for 60 minutes of high-speed action as Drag Racing 97 brings it all to you from Willowbank Raceway. Joining me in commentary for the race call, Nathan Prendergast. This looks like being a real big one.
It certainly does, Rob. The Coca-Cola Wild Bunch, always a spectacular race meeting. A nice strong burnout from Tom Coonan there.
Yes, there's a few New South Welshmen up here to take on the Queenslanders to try and take that Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic trophy. One of them, Alf Sorbello, in this beautiful BMW.
And isn't it a beautiful piece? A nice strong burnout from him, a lot of smoke. Alfie, very, very spectacular. A lot of showmanship, not only from his car, but his crew as well.
Wild Bunch Racing, of course, is run on the handicap system with the dial your own. So we have a situation here where Tom Coonan will get 7/10 of a second handicap start from Alf Sorbello, but Alfie with a lot of top-end speed.
Yeah, he's run 192 mile an hour with this vehicle, a personal best ET of around a 7:21, so it's a very quick car. Coonan, I think, around the 8.0s is a personal best from him, Rob.
Yeah, just snuck into the 7s recently, but most importantly, Tom Coonan won the May Wild Bunch here at Willowbank and is looking to make it 2 on the trot.
Back-to-back event wins would be a good thing for Tom Coonan. You can see the door on Sorbello's car being shut there. A beautiful 850 BMW, both of them heading into stage now, Rob.
Start line reaction always critical, of course. They come out, Coonan with a good 4.7 reaction time. Not quite as good for Sorbello, but he's really starting to make a march through the deep end.
Shootout early for Sorbello, but he gets the win. A 7.25, near his personal best. The speed down a little bit though, 280 kilometres an hour, or around the 175 mile an hour mark.
The next pairing you'll see John Payne, one of the original Wild Bunch racers, coming up against Dave Wallace in the Brisbane Drive Shaft and Balancing Service Commodore, a relative newcomer to Wild Bunch racing.
Yes, in beside him though, John Payne, one of the very first original Wild Bunch racers, and that Corvette still is a beautiful piece.
Yeah, both cars powered by big block Chevrolet engines, the superchargers, making all the horsepower for them. Fuel injected on the methyl alcohol fuel, commonly referred to, of course, as methanol. And these cars virtually running the same sort of engines you'll find in top alcohol dragsters.
Yes, it's a lot of horsepower, around about the 2,500 horsepower mark. Both of them starting to edge into stage now. You can see the differences perhaps on the top of these engines. Payne with the PSI.
And of course a GM-style supercharger over there for Dave Wallace. The difference in the dial-ins, 0.85 of a second. You see Wallace with his handicap start, but not enough. He's got a problem. John Payne's going to run away with this one. Backs it off to avoid any chance of a breakout with a 7.62. Still runs 270 kilometres an hour.
The next pairing about to come forward in the Hi-Tech Oils Coca-Cola Wild Bunch sees John Mole up against the New South Welshman, Tommy Jackson.
Tommy Jackson with another strong burnout. He's been doing some great things with this Komatsu 260Z Datsun.
Yes, he certainly has. He's run into the 760s before, up around the 180 mile an hour mark, which is pretty impressive stuff when you consider the car's powered by a small block Chev rather than the big block that we tend to see in most of these cars, Rob.
That's the case here. John Moll with 490 cubic inches of aluminium Rodex Chevy. He dials in at 8.32 seconds. Jackson with a little 350. He's doing the chasing, giving away 0.72 of a second on this handicap start.
Very, very quick car. Always does some big burnouts. Let's watch him off the start line now. Moll to lead first. Now Jackson's got to chase him down. The little 260 starts to duck and weave. Carries the front inside wheel. Is he going to be able to catch Moll though?
He can't catch him, but he doesn't have to. John Moll breaks out, runs 8.2 seconds on an 8.3 second dial-in, so Jackson the winner.
The next man out sees the wild 55 Chevy of Greg Thompson. This thing's been doing some very impressive ETs, a 670 I believe in qualifying, Rob.
Yes, he's our number one qualifier at this stage in the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic, up against Scott Leo in the competition performance Commodore, also jumping into the 7 second zone the way so many of these Wild Bunches are doing lately.
This event is a good opportunity for Greg Thompson to do some testing before the USA versus Australia Top Door Slammer Challenge arrives here at Willowbank Raceway. 670s is very quick, but I think they need to find a little bit more performance if they want to go up against the likes of Rocker and Shelby.
Interestingly, I spoke to Greg Thompson in the pits after that 670 run, and it caught him a little by surprise. They'd actually detuned the engine a little bit for this Wild Bunch racing and found it stepped up.
Well, it just shows that there's plenty of potential left in that car. Both of them heading into stage now. Watch the 55 with a late charge. The Commodore will leave first, then the big Chevy will have the huge 190, 200 mile an hour top end charge. He's on a chase now. Is he going to catch him? Problems there, Rob.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Lot of smoke. I think that could be an engine for the Super Performance team. So Scott Leo claims the first round win.
Yes, an 8-1-1 there to see him into the next round. Andrew Searle out now in this Wild Capri. What a showman, a huge burnout from him.
Searle's actually gone to a smaller engine for this meeting, trying to look for consistency rather than those low 7 second times he has run before in this Pink's Tough Capri.
Yes, Andrew's normally one that goes for the low ETs. Oh, problems there for Woods. The chute's come out, but it looks as though he's realised it and shut the car off straight away there, Rob.
Yeah, but no way in the world they'd be able to get that chute repacked in time, so Andrew Searle gets a freebie in the first round. That's a good way to win. You take them any way you can.
Oh, the car sounding very lazy off the start line, having to pedal it. This is not going to be a run representative of the car's performance. But if a pig, as a matter of fact, through the top end of the track, with a 938 at 214 kilometres an hour, he'll definitely step it up for the next round.
The point, of course, he's got the points. That's all that matters, and we now go into the last pairing of the first round of the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch, and it brings Scott Jansen and Mark Eaves to the start line.
No.
Eaves in the Tirana.
Nice big burnout from Eaves. I was about to mention the horsepower that car has been producing has definitely stepped up through the qualifying sessions. It came out and had a few problems earlier on, but it looks to me as though they've changed the injector head on the top of the motor, and perhaps that's the cause for all this extra power.
0.7 of a second handicap start going to Scott Jansen in the HQ. Down come the lights. The chase is on. Mark Eaves looks good at this stage. Got off the start line very cleanly.
Yes, it's going to be Eaves all the way down. Shuts it off early to save the dial-in. Runs at 869, 208 kilometres per hour.
Stay with us after the break. It's a Top Alcohol Challenge. The added feature on today's card, of course, is the special Top Alcohol Dragster Challenge. David Glenwright driving the Romac Performance Products car up against Mark Brew for BOC Gases. It's going to be a best of three. And David, this is really going to be one drag-em-out fight.
Certainly. It'll be no holes barred. We're going for it today.
Of course, you used to drive for Adrian Posibon for quite a while. He's a partner in the BOC Gases car. Does this put a little bit of added spice in it?
Oh, not really. I mean, I just try and keep the car as fast as I can and as straight as I can on the run. It doesn't matter who I drive for. I'm trying every time I go to the start line to run as quick as I can down that track.
The personal best between the both of you, separated by only 100th of a second. This can be really close.
Yeah, it could be. I think it may be. We're going to be trying to run that a little bit quicker today than we did here a few weeks ago. The track preparation is going to be better, a little bit better weather, and I think we've caught a little more information on the computer. We'll just be that little bit quicker today, I think.
The other protagonist in this Top Alcohol Slugfest, of course, is Mark Brew. Mark, first time out for BOC Gases, under pressure a little?
We could be, Rob, but no, we're quietly confident.
The Romac cars put on some good performances of late, but the two cars are so close, anybody's race, isn't it?
Oh, that's right, Rob. I mean, both cars are within a hundredths of each other. It can be all won and lost on the lights. I mean, it's not over, mate, until it's over, and it should be some good racing, I think.
The BOC Gases Romac Performance Products Top Alcohol Challenge. What a great concept. Two of the most competitive cars in the country, head-to-head on a best-of-3.
Yes, Rob, a great contest this one, 100th of a second separating the two personal bests for both of these guys, but not much of a burnout for Glenn right there.
Yeah, let's hope he's got enough temperature in those tyres. It's a big 463 cubic inch Chrysler Hemi engine for the Romac car. The BOC Gases car of Mark Brew's just a little 388 cubic inch Chevy.
Yes, a rather unusual combination, but still very quick, has run into the 590s before, over the 220 mile an hour mark. Not bad for a small block Chev.
Of course, the new season for the Top Alcohol Championship kicks off in January. Both these guys keen to do some testing here as well.
Both cars are heading into stage. You hear the revs build up. Brew comes out with the front wheels in the air. Bit of tyre smoke from Glen right there, but it looks like it's going to be Mark Brew. Big top end charge from Glen Wright, but Brew gets the win.
610, 353 kilometres an hour for Mark Brew. A big win, but as you say, we have a look at the High-Tech Oils replay. We can see there Mark Brew getting a big hole shot advantage, but Dave Glenwright in trouble early.
Yes, it looks as though the car has smoked the tyres. Watch the rear tyres now on the shift point. Goes up in a blaze of smoke. Not enough heat in those rear tyres, I'd say, Rob.
So that's one to the BOC Gases team of Mark Brew as we move now into, well, round 2 of Super Gas Eliminator, the heads-up heroes.
Yes, this is a great category, a heads-up 990 index class. Alan Farah up against Neville Slater. Should be some great action, Rob.
Yeah, it's just like the Dial Your Own racing, except it's a common index of 9.90. Any run quicker than that is a breakout, so it's door-to-door racing all the way with the sedan and the roadsters.
And of course, another unique feature of this bracket is the pro start, the heads-up start. It's going to be Neville Slater this time with the win, a 10-1-0 to move him into the next round.
Colin Lloyd on screen now, a former Australian champion in Super Gas Eliminator. He moved to the Group 2 category of Superstock, won the Australian Championship again. No Superstock on offer tonight, so he's up against Ian Nielsen in Supergas. Round 2, brought to us by Brisbane Drive Shafts and Balancing Service.
Both cars get away cleanly, the front wheels just lifting off the ground there. Lloyd makes the early charge, then the car lays over and picks up again in the second half of the track. Nielsen's with him. Who gets the win?
Nielsen gets the win. Colin Lloyd too quick. He runs a 983 on that 990 fixed index, so Nielsen moves to the semi-final.
The next pairing out sees Rob Beecham up against Warren Sichter, and what a burnout from Sichter.
Both these guys in Commodores, both of them very, very keen to chase Super Gas right around Queensland. Interstate, they just love this form of racing. Close side-by-side stuff again.
Yes, they head to half track, and it's door handle to door handle. I can't pick it. We'll have to wait for the clocks.
Double breakout. They're both under the 990 index, but Rob Beecham gets it by the virtue that he broke out by the least amount.
Now Rob's brother Paul comes out to play in this beautiful Roadster. What a trick piece. Up against David Goldie in the Pacific Performance Holden.
This is for the final spot in the semi-finals, of course. And Dave Goldie, he wants to be there, as well as Paul Beecham in this bumper-to-bumper Roadster. Two of the best presented cars in the field.
Oh, they certainly are. No one can deny the presentation on both sides of the racetrack. The heads-up start that we've seen, and once again the cars are side by side. Super Gas is electric here, Rob.
This is another race that's going to be too close to call. Goldie gets it on the breakout, but there's problems in the pits for the Romac team, as Tanya Campbell finds out.
First round's out of the way, and you've given that one away, unfortunately, and you've got some problems.
Yes, we've damaged the cylinder head. It's got a broken bell spring on the exhaust, so we've got a spare set of heads coming from the shop. They're titanium springs. Didn't expect it. Very unusual that they're broken, but we're thrashing away. We've got the cylinder heads off. The new ones aren't far away. The boys shouldn't be long. We've got it all cleaned up, ready to go, so we should be very close to making the second round.
He's filming the drag stop. of the highlights of the 1997 series will be the introduction of the Rocket Industries Top Comp Eliminator Series. Now, the aim of this bracket will be to allow all the supercharged sedans, hot rods, altereds, dragsters and funny cars to tough it out down the quarter mile. Some of our more well-known racers are really looking forward to the challenge.
Top Comp's going to be great, not only for drag racing, but for the Wild Bunch vehicles as well. Up till now, it's been sedan against sedan, but in the future it's going to be sedan against funny car, altered or dragster. And it's going to be great for the motorsport in general.
Oh yes, Bob Scott and myself, we're really excited about this. This is a great benefit that Willowbank Raceway has brought this in for the races. They've had cars that haven't been able to run in brackets before, and this is going to be a great bonus for the crowd, for the drivers. We're going to see blown dragsters, funny cars, all the open style cars up against some of the tougher sedan racing blown action that you'll see around the place. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We think it'll be a great bonus for the raceway.
Now, racing will be held on a dial-your-own handicap basis. The fastest 4 to 6 sedan-type vehicles will line up against the fastest 4 to 6 open qualifiers to give us an 8 to 12 car field depending on numbers. Racing gets underway in this new series on January 4th and will be part of every round of the Castrol New Year series, as well as selected events throughout the year. So if you're a bit of a blown fan, keep your eye out for the Rocket Industries Top Comp Eliminator Series.
High-Tech Oils brings us the round 2 of the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic, and of course it's on shootout, so all the cars come back again. The top 2 point scorers go to the final.
Well, all the cars that can make it back. We had a fair bit of carnage in the first round though, Rob, I've noticed.
Yeah, we've lost cars like Greg Thompson and Cole Dunn with a Super Performance car, but Michael Davey and John Moll are out there doing battle now. 7.9 second dial in for Davey. He's giving away 0.3 of a second to John Moll in the HQ.
And Davey, a strong contender at the 1996 Australian Drag Racing Series Grand Finale, making it to the final in his category, only to be runner-up.
Well, here he's got a chance to try and fight his way forward in the Wild Bunch bracket, but problem there for him. John Moll will run away with it, an 8.25 and more smoke out of the Berry Patch car.
Yes, 254 kilometres an hour there for Moll. He gets another win. Tommy Coonan out now to see how we can go in this beautiful Ford LTD.
Tom Coonan running a new supercharger on the small block Chevy that powers the LTD. Dave Wallace, of course, the big block Chevy in the Brisbane Drive Shafts Commodore.
Yes, it's a beautiful piece, I must admit, as well, and lovely pearl paint job. A huge crowd here at Willowbank, Rob. The drag racing fans in Queensland love the sport, obviously.
Yes, and they love the supercharged racing, there's no doubt about that. Once again, the handicap will apply, 0.55 of a second going to Dave Wallace. Coonan is the one that's got to chase him down with a little engine.
Coonan out hard, the car looks clean, but problems for Wallace. This is a nice run for Coonan, he should back it off though. Oh, Wallace gets the win, Coonan too quick.
Tom Coonan there breaks out, runs a 7.92, just a little bit too quick, but he's testing that new blower, so I don't know how disappointed he'll be.
Oh, once again, another massive burnout from Alf Sorbello, the New South Wales component here this weekend, really putting on a great show.
Up against John Payne in the GDM Wreckers Chevrolet Corvette, but you're right about Alfie Sorbello, one of the true showmen of Australian drag racing.
Great shot of John Payne's car there. It's beautifully turned out. I love the paint job on board. Let's go have a chat with John, see what he thinks about this run. I think he's pretty confident about it, Rob.
Well, you'd have to say that confidence is his middle name at this stage. Up against Alfie Sorbello. The handicap situation in this one, there isn't. They're both dialed in at 7.50. John Payne, red lights, leaves too soon, so Alfie Sorbello, well, living dangerously. He says, I'll cruise it through, but of course it's worked on points.
Yeah, so 10.28 at 142 kilometres an hour is a long way from his dial-in, Rob. Could cost him a place in the final.
Well, Mark Eaves now with another strong burnout from this heavily modified Tirana.
Yes, a Tirana is what it started off as, but it definitely looks a little bit different now. And the wild tyre-smoking Capri for Andrew Searle comes back. Boy, he loves his burnouts.
Loves his burnouts, loves his drag racing, does Andrew Searle. And if it hasn't got a supercharger, it doesn't count as far as he's concerned.
Oh, Andrew always is pushing that car for maximum performance, likes to go quicker every pass, but it looks as though he's perhaps adopted a different approach this weekend, Rob. Maybe trying for a little bit more consistency.
Well, that's the name of the game in any form of dial-your-own racing, and no more so than in Wild Bunch. And look at Mark Eaves there, a picture of concentration in that Tirana. Once more, We'll see the guys leave the start line, not much handicap in this one, and the Tirana looks fast.
Yes, out of shape off the start line, but he is on a flyer. Crosses the finishing line in front, but breaks out. Searle the winner, 7.80.
7.55 for Mark Eaves. That's their best ever with that car, so they are really stepping up.
Scott Leo back again for another shot at it. He's up against Tommy Jackson in the 260Z.
Having a quick look at the points, I'd say that Andrew Searle's already earned himself a spot in the final. He'll be racing up against Alf Sorbello or the winner of this race if they run closer to their dial-in than Sorbello did.
Okay, well, Sorbello, we saw him cruise through. He was a fair way off, so it'll be up to one of these two guys to run close to the dial-in and, of course, get the win. Jackson in the Komatsu car, a very quick contender. Scott Leo, one of the newcomers, but doing a good job of it.
Will we see a Queensland-New South Wales final, or is Scott Leo going to make it all Queensland for competition performance?
One thing you've got to say about the Wild Bunch is the presentation is absolutely amazing, not to mention the performance. Jackson on the chase, Leo's out in front. Jackson's car starts to smoke a bit, very loose there, Rob. He's been able to catch it, but Leo with the win.
Big drive job there from Tommy Jackson. The car extremely loose through the top end. Have a look at it here on the High-Tech Oils replay and you can see how much work Jackson had to do. That was a real drive.
Yes, it certainly was, Rob, but the 8.08 from Leo will put him into the Wild Bunch final up against Andrew Searle. We now move into the semi-finals of Super Gas Eliminator.
This is where the guys get a chance to fight their way into the final, and of course that's where the money run is. Neville Slater in this beautiful Cortina up against David Goldie in the Pacific Performance Monaro.
Goldie, a very experienced customer, has picked up quite a number of wins in quite a number of different classes.
Yes, he runs Super Sedan and Super Gas with this car depending on what's available at which event. Slater also very experienced in Super Gas.
The beauty of Super Gas is the variety of the vehicles. We've got a Ford Cortina up against a Holden, and these are more of the regular vehicles you tend to see in this class.
Big hole shot for David Goldie. I don't think Slater will get near him. Look at David Goldie on the money again. A 998, 199 kilometres an hour, just taking a little bit of brake light insurance there.
Yes, had the opportunity to back off a little bit. Ian Nielsen on screen now completing his burnout. He's up against Rob Beecham.
Rob Beecham. The beautiful Calais. This car was originally built as a show car and street car. Best overall vehicle at the Summernats a couple of times, but best overall red light this time.
Unfortunately throws it away on the start line there with a red light. Nielsen sees the win light in his lane, just backs off and still cruises to a 990, 218 kilometres an hour.
Fantastic run for Nielsen there, and look at this, the kids lined up thick and fast for the BOC Gases balloons as the Proforce team, very, very busy in the pits. While they're busy with the promotional work, the Romac team have missed the call by about 10 minutes. They almost got those heads on, but I guess this gives the overall win to Mark Brew with at least 2 out of 2.
Well, he has to take it out because there's only 3 races and he's won 2 of them, being the only car in this one. A beautifully turned out team. The presentation and performance of this car is definitely something to be commended on.
Well, when the Proforce team of Adrian Posibon and Mark Brew are so keen to get set up with this small block for the coming season, I'm sure that Mark's going to drive this BOC Gases car all the way through. Pretty busy in the cockpit.
You can see Brew there just shifting it out of reverse, selecting low gear to be able to move forward and into stage.
This supercharged small block Chevy, 2,000 horsepower. The car is lighter because it's got a smaller engine, and this BOC Gases dragster has just been electrifying off the start line. Mark's got the quickest average reaction time in the country, and did you see that wheel stand?
Yes, big wheels up launch for Brew there, but a nice pass, 609, 356 kilometres an hour.
Well, that car, as I said, leaving hard here on the High-Tech Oils replay. We can see it carry those wheels a long way out. Look at this angle, hard on the wheelie bars.
Willowbank Raceway is a racetrack that was built by drag racers for drag racers. I guess it was around 12 years ago that a group of enthusiasts got together and decided to carve a racetrack out of what was really virgin bush. And today this magnificent racetrack is really the very best that the country has to offer. We've come a long way from those grass and dirt stands to the big grandstand holding tens of thousands of people, from pits that were mere grass paddocks to today big bitumened areas with all the best facilities that garages have to offer. Willowbank Raceway is an incorporated association, as I said, owned by drag racers, situated about 10 minutes outside of Ipswich and really the largest tourist attraction in this region. If you haven't been here before, come and join us at Willowbank Raceway on the 4th of January for our next major meeting.
And of course the largest event on the calendar for Willowbank Raceway is the Konica-Enzed Winternationals, held each June. Well, back on the Queen's birthday weekend, Pro Stock Eliminator was one of the highlight categories. 14 cars trying to fit into an 8-car field. Only the top 8 qualifiers get into that field. Here we see the final qualifying session. Gerry Parente in the near lane, Rob Tucker over there in the far lane. Tucker currently qualified in 6th, but Parente needs this run to get in. He needs to run 7.96 seconds. Tucker clearly across the line in a good one, but he stays in 6th. Gerry Parente, 7.98 and on the outside of the field. Hans van Dyke from Melbourne was in a similar position, also not yet qualified. Over there in the far lane, Joe Polito in the Ford Probe holding down the number 1 spot, trying to back it up for a new national record. Hans van Dyke desperate for a 7-second pass. He gets that with a 7.99, but only good enough for 11th position. Joe Polito held on to his number 1. 2 of the Queenslanders, both of them on the outside looking in. Mike Reilly in the Chevrolet Camaro. Wayne Daley in the Ford Thunderbird. Daley, his last-ditch effort was to go astray when he got very loose. Reilly tried his heart out, but only ended up 13th with an 8.17. They became spectators when racing started next day. Peter Ridgeway in the All-State Performance Pontiac, the defending Australian champion, not in the field at this point. His last shot, John O'Carney holds down 8th spot, but Ridgeway, a surprise non-qualifier with a 7.97. That made him the quickest non-qualifier in history. Bruno Cugnetto and Bruce Leake were both already in the field. They were trying to jockey for higher positions. Cugnetto trying to grab the number 1 spot away from Joe Polito. Couldn't quite do it with a 7.84. Bruce Leake goes up to 4th with a 7.88. Qualifying, what a highlight. Well, Wayne Daley may not have qualified for the Eliminators, but he came back Sunday afternoon to do a fantastic piece of promotional work. Strapped in the passenger seat of his car was Gordon Lomas, the motorsports correspondent for the Brisbane Courier Mail, and Gordon was about to experience the ride of his life. Strapped into one of these cars that produced so much G-force off the start line, and Daley actually found some improvement despite the extra weight of a passenger. 8.11 seconds made Gordon Lomas the quickest Pro Stock passenger in Australian history. Later on that night, eliminations got underway with the defending champion, Tony Wedlock. Down from Toowoomba, he won the 95 Winter Nationals, was out to do it again at the Konica-Enzed Winters, up against Bruce Leake, a former Australian Pro Stock champion. Well, Bruce Leake and Tony Wedlock have gone head-to-head many a time, and it's been the start line that has been the undoing of Bruce Leake on a number of these occasions. This time at the Winters, it was to be so again. Bruce, with a red light, handed the first round win to Tony Wedlock, and he was able to head through to grab a spot in the semi-final of Pacific Performance Pro Stock Eliminator. John O'Carney, the number 8 qualifier, took on Joe Polito, the man on pole. Polito had stunned all and sundry during qualifying with that Australian record 7.7 second pass. Well, John O'Carney in the Super Winch car was determined to try something, and a huge hole shot put him out in front. Polito trying to chase him down. Have a look at this one. Across the line first goes John O'Carney. An 8.01 beat a 7.88. Incredible start line reaction to get the win there. Rob Quattrochi came into this event hoping to walk away with the lead in the Australian Pro Stock Championship. Rob Tucker from Queensland was determined not to let him. Quattrochi though with the whole shot, Tucker trying to make up the gap, but Rob Quattrochi known for the top speed of this car, and he held it right through to take the win. 7.99 once more. Pro Stock Eliminator a 7-second bracket virtually all the way through. Kym Petterwood brings forward the Pacific Performance Pontiac and up against the number 2 qualifier. Well, the number 1 qualifier had fallen to an upset. Could it happen twice in one round of racing? Not too many of those present thought so, but Kym Petterwood had other ideas. Watch for this on the start line. Just going into stage now is Bruno Cugnetto and the Pontiac of Kym Petterwood way out in front. Cugnetto doing the top end charge once more. Petterwood by just 0.04 of a second. Stay with us. After the break, it's the semi-finals of Pro Stock Eliminator. Back to the Winternationals, and John O'Carney hoping for 2 big upsets in a row as he moved into the semi-final of Pacific Performance Pro Stock Eliminator. Tony Wedlock, of course, in the Ultimate Motorsport Pontiac, he was looking for the chance to defend his Winternationals title. O'Carney hasn't run the full season throughout 1996, but has been an impact player at those events that he contested with the Super Winch car. Tony Wedlock, 4 years in a row, number 2 in Pro Stock Eliminator, looking to make the breakthrough in 1996. Needed this event for it. By a very slender margin, he got his chance to defend his title.
Tony Wedlock, defending Winternationals champion through to another final.
Well, yeah, Gerald, look, we've had all sorts of trouble this weekend, you know. For us to get to the final, you know, it's just amazing.
Qualified on the last run. What's the difference? We've seen you run 80s before, you're in the 90s.
Yeah, well, we've had dramas on 3 qualifying passes, you know, so we're a few runs behind everybody else, so sort of, you know, taking big steps to catch up.
All right, good luck in the final. Let's have a look and see who you're going to run.
Thanks a lot.
And of course it was to be either Kym Petterwood in the Pacific Performance Pontiac or Rob Quattrochi in the Valvoline Optus Chevrolet Beretta from South Australia. Quattrochi had been having a good weekend, no problems to report anywhere. Kym Petterwood in that Pontiac looking for another upset like he pulled in the first round. Can he make it all Queensland final, or is it to be Rob Quattrochi and Tony Wedlock to fight it out for the lead in the Australian Pro Stock Championship? Well, start line always important. Petterwood was able to win that by the barest of margins, but the power of that Valvoline Optus Beretta put Rob Quattrochi into the trophy run, the final of Pro Stock Eliminator at the Konica-Enzed Winternationals for 1996.
Robert Quattrochi, points leader. You're up against Tony Wedlock, number 2 in the points in the final.
Right. Well, it's going to be a close race, I dare say, but we'll try our best and we'll just see what happens. Like, it's been a fairly good weekend for us so far, so we just hope our luck keeps with us, and we'll just see what happens in the next round. Hopefully we'll do well.
So the scene was set for a dramatic final, the Pro Stock Eliminator at the Konica-Enzed Winternationals back in June. Tony Wedlock, the Queenslander, trying to make it 2 Winternationals trophies in a row. Rob Quattrochi determined to score points in the Australian Pro Stock Championship that he coveted so much. Wedlock, the Toowoomba-based racer, works his equipment so hard, the Pontiac Trans Am, and of course Rob Quattrochi with a Chevrolet Beretta. Quattrochi was enjoying about a 1/10 of a second performance advantage going into the final. Tony Wedlock was going to have to try and overcome that with some sort of lightning reflexes on the start line. The air was cool, the conditions absolutely perfect for drag racing, as 29,000 fans enjoyed the Konica-Enzed Winternationals. The final of Pro Stock, one of the most dramatic that exists in drag racing. Heads up start, of course, no handicaps apply. The tension right about this point, you could cut with a knife. Wedlock desperately needing the start line advantage. Quattrochi knows he's got the power if he can stay close enough to the Pontiac. Wedlock with a 1/10 of a second off the start line, clearly half a car in front at half track. The Beretta came back at him. 21 thousandths of a second was the victory for Rob Quattrochi, and he took the points away. Let's have a look at it in slow motion on the High-Tech Oils replay. As I say, Tony Wedlock with a 1/10 of a second advantage off the start line. You see as they come past the camera that he's holding that advantage. Quattrochi's coming on fast. If you want to see what 21 thousandths of a second looks like, have a look at that at the yellow stripe, the finish line. Tony Wedlock just missed it out by that 21 thousandths of a second. Well, as 29,000 fans head home from the Winters, don't you go away. We'll be back with all the finals.
The next time we gather at Willowbank Raceway will be January 4 for the first round of the 1997 Castrol New Year Drag Racing Series. Jet dragsters Chuck Haynes and Leyland Blee from the United States of America are coming here to really light up the sky one more time. And also joining them, the top door slammer ranks, John Shalpy and of course Johnny Rocker. And they're taking on the very best that Australia has to offer. Two of our local champions, Les Winter and Greg Thompson, are just itching to get a chance to race them.
We came here today with intentions of getting a baseline and putting the weight in the car and making it legal weight. And if all runs good, we'll certainly be here on the 4th of January to give it our best shot.
Well, I guess we'll be in there fighting for Queensland and just hoping that we can beat the Yanks up a bit.
So with our locals Victor Bray, Troy Critchley, Michael King, Peter Gratz and many more, it's going to be one great meeting here Saturday night, January 4, Willowbank Raceway.
It's all finals time now from the Hi-Tech Oils Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic, and the first we see is Junior Dragster.
Yes, it's Shane Tucker up against Jordana Pullen. Tucker in the second of the Proforce cars here this weekend. Great shot of Jordana's car there, looking in the roll cage. Fair bit of work going on for her.
These junior dragsters, of course, for kids 8 to 16-year-old. They only run over an 1/8 of a mile, but they still get up to some good speeds.
Yes, the winner of this one, Jordana Pullen, takes it out with an 11.15. Not bad for 200 metres.
91 kilometres an hour. Modified bike eliminator now. Wendy Parsons up against Peter Batley. Parsons gets out with the reaction time advantage. Batley trying to run her down. I think the lady might take this one out.
Yeah, I think Batley's got some problems. Parsons will get the win at 10.42, 198 kilometres an hour.
Final of Superformance Super Street Eliminator now. Peter Smith in the Cortina up against Ricky Steffens in the Tirana. Good lead by both drivers.
Yes, pretty even as they get to half track. Steffens, I think, has just got the edge at the moment. The Cortina chasing hard. Not going to catch the Tirana though. Steffens at 11.09, 177 kilometres an hour for the win.
Running Super Eliminator tonight, and that combines modified and super sedan cars. Arthur Telford out and chasing Dave Foreman. Foreman's been magic on the lights. He won the Sylvania Lighting Light of the Night with a 4.00 and the Super Eliminator final with a 9.63.
Time now for the final of Super Gas Eliminator, and it's come down to these two. Dave Goldie up against Ian Nielsen. Both of them have run right on that 9.90 tonight.
I think this is going to be a fantastic final of Brisbane Drive Shafts Super Gas Eliminator. Two of the best racers making their way through to the Trophy Dash. Ian Nielsen and Dave Goldie, they come out together, nothing in this one.
Goldie, I think, with a little bit of an edge at the moment, but here comes Nielsen. It's going to be tight.
David Goldie for the win, and what a happy man he'll be.
Winning margin, 64 thousandths of a second. How do you feel?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, that was a tough race. Well, they all have been all tonight. Yeah, this bracket's just so much fun.
Just two finals to go for the Hi-Tech Oils Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic. But before we go to those, it's time to update the Winter Smash Repairs Track Championships. In Modified Bike Eliminator, Wendy Parsons is leading handily from Darryl Hinson and Peter Batley. In Superformance Super Street Eliminator, Ricky Steffens is way out in front from Dave Howbrigg, Peter Smith, Greg Stevens, Steve Powell and Kerry Jeffries, all on 50. Craigar Performance Super Sedan, Aris Contaleon, a slender lead over Ray Hoffman, Steve Tatum, Neil Maxwell, David Goldie and Alan Ebden. Modified Eliminator, the 1995 champion Russell Schaefer way out in front again, 110 points ahead of Paul Beecham, Arthur Telford, Rob McKettrick, Graham Frawley and Ray Merritt. Hi-Tech Oil Super Comp Eliminator, Jeff Watson from Dave Tucker, James Woodward, Dave Glenwright and Colin Lloyd. Plenty of racing left in that series, of course, and plenty of racing left tonight. The final of Hi-Tech Oil's Coca-Cola Wild Bunch coming up right now.
Well, it looks as though the consistency that Andrew Searle has adopted has certainly paid off for him. Check out the burnout, though. Sideways action from the Capri, but he's in the final and he's up against Scott Leo.
Scott Leo is not going to be outdone too easily in the competition performance. Commodore really starting to get a handle on this car. I think he's going to be a hard customer to chase down for Andrew Searle.
Yes, he certainly is. He's been pretty consistent, ran 8.08 on his last pass. Searle has been a little bit all over the place. His first round he had some problems with a fuel line, a little bit of plastic in the fuel tank, but since then the car has cleaned up, has been getting quicker and quicker. Watch for the top end charge from Searle.
Well, there's not a more dedicated racer to the Wild Bunch cause than Andrew Searle, and he's to be congratulated. Travels all over the country to support these events. And here he is in the final with a sniff of his first big Wild Bunch win.
Well, both cars are into stage. Leo to lead first, Searle on the chase. Leo looking strong, the car a little bit loose. I think it's game over. Searle on the chase, he should back it off to save his index, and does.
8.04, 2.22. We could hear the engine note change there. Andrew Searle with a great victory. Well, there's one more to come, of course, and it's top alcohol for BOC Gases and Romac.
Top alcohol time, the higher horsepower action of the dragsters returns. It's the final, and it's good to see the Romac dragster back with new, fresh cylinder heads.
Yeah, just missed the call by about 10 minutes to contest the second round. Well, David Glenwright's out to salvage some pride here, I suppose, because Mark Brew's already won it for the BOC team.
Yes, he certainly has. Glenwright, I'd say, would have hopped this thing right up for a quick run. Ran a 5.90 at a street meeting, Rob, which I believe the conditions weren't ideal.
No, far from it, but ran a 5.97, I think it was, at a fairly slow speed because he backed it off early. Mark Brew there, the picture of concentration. He'll be trying to get out in front, use the advantage of this car's lighter weight and his reaction time average, and he'll just make Dave Glenwright chase him from behind. If he gets a good enough lead, Glenwright won't catch him in time.
Well, both cars are heading into stage now. Listen for the reds to build. Both cars bumping it in. Brew gets out hard. The front wheel's in the air again, but I think Glenwright's got the horsepower this time. Glenwright gets there first. Look at the speed, Rob.
5.76, that's the quickest top alcohol pass ever in Australia. The Brackhams are absolutely delighted. I'm sure David Glenwright must be as well.
David, you may not have got the win here tonight, but you've just run 5.76 at 245 mile an hour. How happy are you?
I'm great. I'm ecstatic. It felt. Just let me get me up. It was so good through first gear. It was just great. I thought I was smiling by the time we hit 9,000 low gear. I thought we're on a run. So it was great. The wrap shook a little bit still, but moved around a little bit. But it was really felt very strong. It was great.
Well, the boys from Romac Performances are going to be sitting up there smiling, I'm sure.
I'm sure they are. Well, congratulations, Bob. A 570. You got your 570. I didn't think it happened tonight, but I'm ecstatic and a great speed as well. It's a credit. Well done, boys.
So after a great night's racing right across the board, it's Mark Brew in the Pro Force BOC Gases team. Romac's got the record, but you can't take the win away from Mark Brew and the BOC Gases Pro Force Top Alcohol Dragster.
Well, there you have it, the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch Classic for 1996. Fantastic sedan racing and the quickest ever top alcohol pass in Australian drag racing from David Glenwright. The next race meeting here at Willowbank Raceway is the Castrol New Year Series Round 1 on January 4th. We'll bring you all of the action from that event on Sunday afternoon, January 12 at 4 p.m. We look forward to having your company back then.